everybody. Today we're going to be talking about all things cooperative care. So cooperative care for dogs, meaning bath, nail trims, vet visits, grooming, and more. If you've ever struggled with sort of handling your dog's care needs like that, you are not alone. I myself have been there with my own poodle Hera, and for years we really struggled and it got worse and worse before it got better. So I know how stressful it can be when every nail trim, every grooming session feels like conflict-ridden and anxiety-laden. My name is Krishma War, if you haven't met me already. I'm a behavior consultant. You can check out our page, Calm Canine Academy, and we specialize in working with sensitive or big feeling dogs. And when it comes to care or husbandry behaviors, handling, etc., these are all kind of interchangeable, I guess. When it comes to these things with our sensitive dogs, it's all the more important that we get this right. It's even more critical that we get it right with them. Some of the things that people come to us and struggle with, and that I myself struggled with. So all of those different care procedures that I mentioned. For Hera, my poodle, at the beginning when I first got him, he was like 5 months old when I got him, and he had never really been groomed, and I didn't really know what to do, so I didn't really do much to help him. And when I did try to groom him, he was very fearful. He would shake, he would hide at the beginning, and then he would avoid me for a long time after. And over the years for him, which is a pattern for lots of dogs, things kind of escalated, and it went from running and hiding to growling to then snapping and barking at me, and eventually ended up with him biting me multiple times over the years. And these are often really real everyday challenges for people in our community and for guardians who we work with in coaching services. And so if this sounds like something that is familiar to you, please do stick around, because we're going to be talking a little bit more about it. But comfort with handling and care procedures is important for every captive animal for obvious reasons. They don't really know what's going on and they don't have many choices in their life. So providing them with feelings of safety during those procedures is going to be good for them overall as well as for us. But for sensitive dogs with behavior challenges, it's even more important. So for Hera, he's a great example of the sort of dogs we work with. He struggled with people, he struggled with dogs, he struggled with new environments, car travel, sounds, lots of lungy, barky behaviors, growling behaviors, hiding, shaking, urinating himself, that sort of stuff. We see lots of dogs who struggle with those sorts of triggers, those sorts of stimulus. And for these dogs, getting their basic care needs done in a way that doesn't harm them or the relationship is even more important. First of all, number one, they need to feel good. We need to heal. We need to feel well in our body. Our physical health needs to be tended to. And so literally being able to give them medical care, provide them with grooming care, this kind of stuff, it's going to be an important factor of their overall behavior plan. People come to me sometimes and they want to work on sound sensitivity, and I'm like, yeah, but your fluffy dog's got matting on their back. And they say, yeah, well, I can't get to the matting because they're really sensitive. I go, okay, well, we're going to have to work on that matting if you want the sound sensitivity to improve. So this is foundational to all other areas of healing that you might want to see your dog transform around, right? So that's the first kind of really fundamental part. And another kind of big important part here is that these dogs who are struggling often with multiple different behavior challenges, there's a lot of stress that they're having to endure on a day-to-day basis. A lot of our work is minimizing that stress for them so that they can get out of chronic stress cycles, function effectively, live healthy lives, heal, etc. If we are, every time we have to do a care procedure, every time we have to give them their medication in their eye, or every time we have to wipe them down after being outside in the mud, if every time we're doing that, it's conflict-laden, it's stressful, we're going to mess up the relationship between the human and the dog. That attachment bond is going to be ruptured, with repeatedly being just pounded away in those little moments. And also it can add more stress in general to this dog's already stressful life. I think lastly, a big kind of problem that we see is that, we're trying to reduce stress in areas outside of handling, but we don't realize that the handling stress will bleed into other areas of their life. So for example, when Hero really struggled with handling, he'd be groomed, and for the next 24 hours he'd be more reactive to people, to dogs, etc. So it's like all kind of fits in together into this bigger picture. And I talk about this doom spiral that me and Hero got in, that I think lots of people will resonate with. And it was like, we were working on cooperative care stuff, but while we were working on that cooperative care, I kind of wasn't able to do a lot of the things that needed to be done, which then he got mats, he got ear infections, he got more sensitive, and then every time I had to perform a necessary procedure, we were just pushed way back, all the way back to the beginning again, and this cycle continued where he got worse and worse. And I think that it resonates with lots of people in our community. And I was asking the CCA members, because we have this membership with almost 100 people in it. And this was one of the biggest challenges that they were having with their dogs. Every time they were having to do care procedures with their dogs, it was rupturing their relationship, pushing back their progress in their separation anxiety training, their training with stranger danger, their sound sensitivity work. And they were stuck in this cycle, and they tried to do cooperative care, but their dog is not a kind of happy-go-lucky little puppy who will lick a licky mat while you do their nail trims. The kind of common recommended things weren't working for them, and actually sometimes made things worse. And so if you're in that position, I want you to keep listening, because we're going to talk a little bit today about sort of 3 big takeaways that I have. And the takeaways are from sort of handling month in the CCA membership. So February is handling month this month, and that means that we've been talking a lot about handling in the membership, and I've been creating a kind of 2-hour course material for the members about this topic. So some of these takeaways are kind of just intros to some of the concepts that I go into in depth in that kind of course material in the membership. If anyone wants to join the membership, you just can comment CCA member in like capitals, one word, CCA member, and I'll send you a link, and you'll get the first 2 weeks for free, and then it's like $19 US dollars a month after that. And honestly, there's like hours of content on topics for helping sensitive dogs heal, instructions, forum where you can ask questions, discuss with the members. It's very, very cool, and the first 2 weeks are free, so go check it out. Like I said, CCA member, and then you can join us later today and next week for some handling related events where we're doing like webinars and stuff. All right, let's talk about the 3 takeaways. So we know like what care and husbandry and this sort of stuff is. And we kind of touched upon why it's so important to do it right, some of the struggles that we see that I've also experienced myself. So 3 key takeaways that I think are at the forefront of my mind today when it comes to handling and care of these extremely big feeling animals. And the first one is choice and agency are fantastic, but they're not a cure-all or a panacea. And what I mean by that is choice and agency are often things that people will prescribe to dogs who struggle with handling and care procedures. And it was something that I worked really hard with Hira at the beginning of his life for the first few years. And that's things like, I would, make him feel better about the kind of equipment. And then I'd ask him to do a chin rest, or I'd teach him to do a behavior that he could then opt in to the care procedures. So he'd opt in, and then I'd do the brushing, and then he'd get a cookie. And choice and agency are great in many different contexts, and in the membership material on this, we go into depth about some of the times when it's really important. But I didn't really account for the fact that like poodles need like 4 hours, 5 hours of grooming. Like that can need to happen. 5 hours of grooming. Sometimes he had painful ear infections that he would never opt in to me looking at. And I didn't really have any other tools in my tool belt. So I would give him choices and be like, can you do a chin rest so I can look in your infected ear? And he'd be like, fuck no, Krishma, that's infected. It hurts. And then I'd be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I need to do it, so come here. And this confusion around, I ask him to participate in care, and then sometimes I'm forcing him to do things, and then sometimes I'm asking him to do things that he can't do because that's too hard, and he's failing over and over again. I got into these patterns, and I see a lot of my clients getting into these patterns as well. Some procedures are painful. Some procedures are always going to be a little bit uncomfortable, something that they don't really want to do. And I was obsessed with getting him to opt in to everything. And when you have a dog as sensitive as mine, and you have so many things that I need to do to him, I'm meant to pluck the hair from inside his ears to stop him from getting ear infections and matting in his ear canal. That's horrible. Oh my gosh. And I was originally taught that I should teach him to opt into those procedures. And then he would opt in, and then I'd pull his ear hair and he'd be like, what the hell? And the kind of my obsession, and it wasn't an obsession, it was just that it was the only tool I had, so I used it. But my use of that tool was incorrectly used, and actually it did a lot of harm. And that was just my one experience, but I see these patterns in a lot of our clients and a lot of people in the membership, a lot of our community on Instagram, and people on even other platforms. So if you feel like you're in a position where I was using the highest value food to get him to do things, and sometimes he would do it and then sometimes he wouldn't, and it wasn't really getting better overall quickly. If you're in that position, I definitely would love to see you over in the membership to discuss this in more depth. But anyway, that's my first takeaway. Second one, which kind of leads on from this, number one, is that I shifted my goalposts with my own dog and then a lot of my client dogs. Rather than asking them to opt into everything and participate in care, I shifted goalposts to just protecting the comfort of that dog in the future. I think at the beginning, when this was all so stressful for me, I had sometimes I was like, oh, just take him to the back and get it done. Whatever you need to do, it's an emergency, just get it done. And what I didn't realize is that causes really significant behavior injury. And then the next time I needed to get something done, it was worse. And we went into this spiral of things getting worse and worse over 3 years, 4 years. And that's when I had to kind of change everything. And one of the big changes that we made is this goalpost shifting, harm reduction over participation. So my goal is not for them to participate in the painful ear examination. My goal is not for him to participate in the 5-hour groom that he has to have once a month. The goal was actually just that he had a neutral experience and that we didn't do any damage from that. And when my goal was to get him to participate, I was finding the fallout was so extreme and the damage to our relationship was so extreme. When I shifted my goalposts, that was really helpful. And so I go into a lot of detail in the webinars, in the membership and stuff, about other strategies we can use other than participation and trying to get them to choose to do these things, other strategies that we can use. And it's too much for me to go into here because I'm already running over, but hopefully I'll see you guys, commenting CCA member. You can go and watch the longer webinar that I'm hosting in half an hour. So those are the first two. Choice and agency are great, but they're not a cure-all. They're not the only option we have. And sometimes it's useful to shift our goal to be, instead of getting them to opt in, protecting the future comfort of the dog. And then I guess my last point here is that I used to focus so much, and I think so much focus is on these training sessions where we teach the dogs to, do these complicated procedures. And we see lots of zoo animals doing this, like the lion who offers their mouth open and stuff like that. And these are all fantastic. These are cool. These can be done by many pet dogs, and it can't by many as well for many procedures. So I don't want people to think that they're failing if they're not doing these ridiculous training sessions. That's in 99% of my cases, that's not what I'm working on. I'm focusing on the first 2 points and then building a solid foundation, a foundation of wellness for that animal and a foundation of secure attachment between the animal and their caregiver or givers. It's better to have caregivers. We want multiple points of secure attachment. And I talk about this a lot more. I'm going to pull up my slide from the webinar to guide my talking here. But the solid foundation, the wellness, the secure attachment, this is a huge topic. It's something that we've talked about so much over the years at CCA. We've created a framework that we use to help our clients understand how many different factors there are that affect behavior and construct plans that work, that improve and change and transform behavior. We call it the HEAL framework. In the membership, there is a whole module on the HEAL framework with like 2 hours of content. So if you want to learn more about it, go there. But in general, just like quick firing at you some things that we're often making changes or kind of affecting change in. So we're checking the physical body as well. We're checking that we're managing their stress, meeting their needs, decompressing in nature, being a dog, doing dog things. We look at their social needs, the communication between them and other housemates and other humans and animals. And that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. Like we focus on those holistic, integrative measures to build a solid foundation of wellness and a solid relationship, to build resilience so that they can bounce back from that kind of uncomfortable injection, or they can bounce back from they sprain their ankle and the vet needs to examine it and all that hurts, but they can now bounce back because they have this abundance of security because of the wellness factors and because the relationship is secure. And if you want to learn more about these different things, I would love to see you in the membership. If you are feeling like, nail trims, baths, grooming procedures, medical procedures are causing your relationship to rupture with your dog, setbacks in your training plans, that's exactly who we want to see. So hopefully we'll be seeing you there. Hopefully this has been helpful. And if anyone has any questions or any other comments or points, feel free to jump into the comment section and I'll do my best to answer. So this has been a fun little journey into the land of care procedures for super sensitive, big feeling dogs. And you can jump onto our page. You can find lots more live videos on other topics like separation anxiety, sound sensitivity, stranger danger. And on our website, we have a free webinar library with literally hours of webinars on big behavior challenges that we specialize in, including separation anxiety, stranger danger, husbandry and handling, and much, much more. So go and check them all out. All right, thank you everyone. See you soon. Bye.